felt good. But yeah, that's the true origin story of this will probably hit the cutting room floor and
never be seen again.
So, as we close out the month of September with the Wednesday Night Wrestling remix, we enter into WCW and the NWO Bash at the Beach. Man, this thing just keeps coming and coming and coming. Such an important event. But let's talk about the 1998 Bash at the Beach.
Gotcha. Well, at this Bash at the Beach, you have the Raven Rules match. So obviously Raven had to win. Let's see. He came out with Lodi and Riggs to defeat Perry Saturn.
A former Flock member himself.
Exactly. I'm glad you said that because I almost forgot.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Well, and before you continue, I like the fact that WCW
didn't call it a death match.
Well, that too also. But what I was going to say is they, so it's not precisely keeping the continuity of ECW, but loosely kept the continuity of ECW when Raven, Perry Saturn, Stevie Richards, all these ex-ECW folks came to WCW.
Right.
It's not entirely unlike how AEW acknowledges world title victories of their contracted wrestlers from other promotions that they had worked in the past. Yeah. And so I just think that's a positive.
I like the way you said that. A positive. Let's see. Next up, you got Hoovy defeating Kidman, who also came out with Lodi. Stevie Ray defeats Chavo Guerrero Jr. Why the hell did those have a match?
You said Stevie Ray and Chavo Guerrero?
Uh-huh.
I bet this is around the time where Chavo was leaning into his loco-ness, because there's a period of time where Chavo is crazy, and he has a hair versus hair match with Eddie and shaves his own head, and
oh, you mean the match that happened right after this?
Most likely so. But what I was going to say before you clarified my accidental remembering.
Yeah, I'm about to say no. You verified.
But what I was going to say is around this time where Chavo was doing crazy things, he probably would have even called out Stevie Ray because he's so big himself, or maybe it was an Eddie saying, "Oh, I bet you can't take on that guy" type of gimmick. Yeah. That feels right.
I mean, he lost to Stevie Ray in like less than 2 minutes, and then proceeded to lose to Eddie Guerrero in a hair versus hair match. And keep in mind, this is when Eddie had that sweet mullet, prime Latino heat type vibes. That match went a little longer, 11 minutes 54 seconds. But yeah, so Chavo, not a good night for Chavo. Let's see. After that, we had Conan with Kevin Nash and Lex Luger defeating Disco Inferno. So who cares?
Are you saying he didn't put butts in seats?
I'm saying he showed up to the event and butts were in seats, but they were not. Just because those two things happened does not mean one caused the other.
Okay.
Let's see.
I think Cody Rhodes agrees with you.
Yeah. Cody's not a fan. Let's see. And then you got the Giant defeating Kevin Green. Okay. Here we go. This is the meat and potatoes of the show now. You got your WCW Cruiserweight title match. Rey Mysterio Jr. defeats Chris Jericho. Title change.
Very nice.
Very nice. Good stuff. Let's see. Next up, you got your TV title match. Booker T retains against Bret Hart by disqualification. Why it was by disqualification? You're asking some great questions, TV audience. I do not know.
Well, as I say every time we run across things like this, that's why we're remixing WCW.
Yep. Well, next you got your world title match. You have Goldberg defeating Kurt Hennig. Any guesses on time?
I mean, Hennig's a marathon man, so I'm going to guess he got 7 minutes and 14 seconds out of Bill.
Man, you have a lot of faith in Bill to wrestle. It is 3 minutes 50 seconds. Damn. Yeah, they didn't give
as I said, Hennig can go. I didn't say that he
didn't mean he was. Yeah. Didn't mean he did go. Yep. And I bet you thought that was the main event. World title match? Yeah, no. So the main event was Dennis Rodman and Hogan, because Hogan's always got to go last. And I guess the Disciple came out with him for whatever reason. And they defeated...
Because he looks up to Hollywood Hulk Hogan.
Is that the reason.
Yeah, that's why he's the disciple. He's the disciple of Hollywood Hogan.
Alright, whatever.
I mean, that and Ed Leslie has all kinds of bad names.
Yeah, that's probably more accurate. They defeated DDP and Karl Malone and this went 23 minutes.
They had to pause a lot for the flashing of the cameras.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, it's not nearly as bad as what's coming, but...
Yeah, I know.
But, Oh,
Whew.
So...
90s.
Normally, I rebook celebrity matches. I don't rebook this one. Just because it's Dennis Rodman's one and only match. I forget who it was I heard talking about this recently, but they said they worry that Logan Paul, with his match against Roman being his third match, will have diminishing returns because the celebrity match is always biggest when it's the first time. True. Whether it's Mr. T at WrestleMania 1 was bigger than Mr. T at WrestleMania 2, or any time that you do a reoccurrence. Like in this case, Dennis Rodman reoccurred the year after he had previously tagged with Hogan. But I didn't book that match. He was just on the outside assisting the NWO. This time is Rodman's one and only match. Just because, even though I didn't follow basketball, and I mean, I still don't, but at the time, even though I didn't follow basketball, it was the talk of the town.
It's a big deal.
They were the two teams, Utah Jazz and Chicago Bulls. They were the two teams in the finals, and it just helped bleed over to the storyline, or the storyline helped bleed over to the storyline. I don't know. They blended well together is the point. But before I rebook my Bash at the Beach, we need to rewind back 10 days. So this show happened on 7/12/1998, but I'm going to rewind to July the 2nd of 1998, and that's a Thursday night. It is two nights before the 4th of July, and on this show, mind you, Thunder is NWO exclusive, so on this show, we open with Hollywood Hogan and the Disciple coming out waving little American flags, very reminiscent of the Rougeau brothers, and, they're being arrogant and a-holy, but it's...
So uncharacteristic.
I know, right? So uncharacteristic. That's funny. But they challenge Jim the Anvil Neidhart and the British Bulldog, who are the NWO's tag team champions, to a match on the show, and Hogan and Disciple lose because Hogan and Rodman are in the main event, so there's no reason for Hogan to have half the tag titles and not defend it.
Makes sense.
But more importantly, on this night, 2 nights before the 4th of July, we have the return of Red, White, and Blue Lex Luger, Trunks. We don't get no bus up in here, but we're basically pulling the Lex Express gimmick when Lex Luger challenges the double title holding Bret the Hitman Hart, but he doesn't challenge for both belts, only one. He challenges Bret for the big gold belt, and Lex Luger puts a torture rack on Bret and wins the big gold belt from Bret the Hitman Hart on the way to the 4th of July. Because,
America.
Well, not just that, but back at the Great American Bash in the last episode, Bret refused to be on a show about America, and so that's what is leading to Bret losing to a babyface Lex Luger in the main event of the show 2 nights before the 4th of July.
Super American Lex Luger defeating Canadian hero Bret Hart.
Correct.
Loved it.
So,
itself.
As we go into, well, and here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
So this is to be very similar to something that I unbooked from the year prior.
Mm.
So in the year prior, Luger defeated Hogan en route to Hogan dropping the title to Sting in real life. I didn't do that because you don't take the title off of Hogan just a couple of months before Sting's going to have his first match in a long time and win the title. So what I did was I put a pause on that, and I saved it for this year, where a Luger can do it closer to the 4th of July, take it off of a guy who's an arrogant in storyline. Yeah, in storyline, arrogant outsider.
Yep.
And that's also relevant because I kind of want to spoil something just in case people get hurt by what I'm about to do. But I unbook Hennig versus Goldberg because in this world, Bill is not yet the world champion. He is still just the United States champion. So what I do is I have Bill Goldberg defending his 110-0 streak against the NWO television champion Bret the Hitman Hart, and Bill goes over, winning the match, turning his streak into 111, no losses, and now Bill holds 2 titles, just like Bret had done, except his 2 are the 2 secondary titles, the United States and the television, not the World Heavyweight like Bret had with the television title.
Gotcha.
Like I said, the main event remains the same. On the undercard, we've got Anvil and Davey Boy defending against the Steiners. Steiners go over on Anvil and Davey.
Cool.
Chris Jericho versus Booker T for the World Heavyweight title. Ralphus helps Jericho cheat to retain.
Ralphus. I forgot about Ralphus.
I love that gimmick.
That's great.
So I keep Saturn and Raven. I keep Hoovy and Kidman. Chavo and Eddie for hair, absolutely.
Cool.
And I move Malenko versus Rey Mysterio for Cruiserweight since Jericho is occupied with the heavyweight title. But yeah, that is my version of Bash the Beach. Similar, but key differences. And like I said, the build-up is the biggest difference because of all of the stuff that's going on with Bret, keeping him high on the card because he is the hottest commodity since the screw job. Like, why would you... Never mind. It's why we're doing this. It's why we're doing this. It's why we're doing this. All right. So now that we have finished up with the Bash of the Beach, we move to Road Wild because, Hog is owned by Harley Davidson.
Right.
What, good sir, went down August the 8th of 1998?
Well, good sir. Ming defeats the Barbarian with Jimmy Hart. Because, because the match happened.
It's a strange one, honestly. They're both Dungeon of Doom guys. They're former tag team with Face of Fear.
Yep.
But I mean, if you're gonna pick somebody, pick Ming.
Yeah, I would go with Ming. That's probably the most believable winner of any match I've ever seen.
Speaking of Ming, did you see his sons are back together?
Yes,
I'm so happy. Me too.
So happy. Yes, that time of recording.
I saw somebody say New Japan was like, I see your bloodline and I raise you my bloodline.
I raise you my bloodline. Honestly, Haku versus not Haku. No, Haku.
Oh,
okay.
dude. Ming / Haku.
Yeah, Ming / Haku.
Former tag team partner with Rikishi.
Yeah.
And so I swear those guys need to come out or like do it.
I just need them to come out and look at each other.
Yeah,
that's all.
That's it. Oh my goodness, that's exciting.
Honestly, that put butts in seats right there, Disco.
Well, and here's the thing. I would just have them like acknowledge each other, because it's not
like big respect.
Exactly.
Like you're a tough guy. I'm a tough guy.
Well, and my sons are top guys. Your sons are top guys. It's like good stuff.
Shoot, honestly, so I told you.
By the way, another great meme is the Four Brothers. You know that Mark Wahlberg movie? I keep seeing the Usos, Solo, and Sammy's heads.
I did see that. So that was hilarious. I love that Sammy's now officially an honorary member too. What was I gonna say? It was I told you I watched the G1, right?
Yes.
You would not believe how over Tama Tonga is.
I love it.
Like he's like over his like good guy Tama. Who would have guessed?
I love all of Ming's sons.
Yeah.
And so
all 3 of them are like great. Like Hikuleo is like tall, like tall. Like he's tall for no reason.
I love that.
Like, my God. But yeah, no, like Tama's like gimmick of the good bad guy, and the Japanese fans are lapping it up. Like he was in the like final, like he won his block and wrestled Okada, and there were moments when I was watching that match, I'm like, oh my God, he's gonna beat Okada.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness, he's gonna beat Okada. Now Okada won,
sure,
because it's Okada and this New Japan booking.
Yeah.
But still, like Tama looked great in that.
Here's what I'll say about, like you said, New Japan booking is like, if you establish somebody as an unstoppable force,
mm-hmm.
and then you have them lose, it's just a surefire way to make somebody be believable.
Exactly.
And so yeah, I'm all for it.
Yeah, that's why Jonah's probably the most believable thing in New Japan, because he beat Okada in a G1 match.
You think that he'll stay out of WWE? I think he'll go back.
I think so. I think he's enjoying himself right now. Like he literally, because when he was in WWE, and don't get me wrong, he was booked well in NXT.
Of course. Well, I just with it being a new world, I mean,
Yeah,
the new Booker on top.
I get you. Like I understand your thought process, but New Japan's treating them really well.
Absolutely, I ain't mad at it. I like everybody doing well.
Yeah.
And by that I mean
I'm
every
about to say I
promotion.
want all wrestlers to make money.
Absolutely,
I want all promotions to have no problems.
I'm not one of these people that see on the internet. It's like, Bobby Fish should get everybody to quit AEW for Papa H. I'm like, I love Papa H, but dang, come on.
Nah, man.
Other
If you want to do that, that's cool.
Yeah.
But like, especially Adam Cole, there's no logical reason for him to leave AEW.
Not
all of his friends are there. His girlfriend's there.
Mm-hmm.
He knows he's gonna get treated well. Like, there's no reason for him to leave.
I think there's literally one thing I would have done differently with Cole and Britt too, for that matter, which is keep those Owen Hart straps on them.
Yeah, keep them around.
Like, I just like seeing them. They're pretty.
Yeah, they're really well made belts. Like, especially
I wouldn't have them defend them. I would just have them carry them.
Just have them show them off. It didn't help that Cole got hurt like
so quickly.
I honestly think he was hurt during the tournament, and then it just got progressively worse until. Because I literally think he was out 2 weeks after he won those, won the Owen, and then Britt.
She just stopped carrying it. I don't know.
But to be fair, she stopped being on TV for a while too, which was probably the reason why she doesn't carry it anymore.
For sure. I'm just saying I like to have it around.
Yeah, I'm about to say that.
If it was up to me, every year that title would change design. So this first year is the Stampede North American Championship design, right?
Right.
I would get, if I was Tony Khan, I would go to Reggie Parks and be like, hey, I know you own the copyright to the Intercontinental title. Can I put the Owen in that shape, that design? For the second one, right? And he'd be like, of course, just pay me whatever royalty it is, right?
Say, pay me whatever amount of money you want.
And so then on the third year, I would be like, Reggie Parker, whoever it is, who owns the European title design, be like, hey, I love that shape, I love that design. Owen held it.
Basically, it'll just be every single title Owen's ever held.
Then the world tag team titles. Exactly. You've already figured it out.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's good.
Yeah, I think it's fun.
I'm honest with you. Especially since Owen held so many championships.
Of course.
You can get away with doing that.
I mean, we're probably good for like 8 years at least.
At minimum.
Yeah.
And honestly, at that point, you can just start recycling.
Exactly.
No one's gonna notice.
Well, even if you do, it's just a fun gag.
It's a fun gag. Like everyone's like, all right, we hit the end. Let's start over.
Mm-hmm. And then you could tweak it just a little bit. Use new pictures of Owen for the sketches or the etching. I mean,
you can put his kids in somewhere.
Of course.
Yeah. It's like, man, it's great stuff.
Where do we leave off at?
I
know
sorry,
we're wild, but
I don't know.
Okay.
You know what it was? We went off on a Haku tyrant.
Yeah,
that's what it was. All right. So let's see. Tag team street fight, Public Enemy versus the Dancing Fools.
Alex Wright and Disco Inferno.
Yep. With Tokyo Magnum in the corner. I don't remember Tokyo Magnum.
No.
All right. I was hoping you would.
I don't.
Yeah, no recollection there. Next up, you got a Raven Rules triangle match. So it's Saturn, Canyon, Raven with Lodi. Who do you think won?
I hope Raven.
Yeah, no, it's Saturn.
Okay. Well, in my world, Raven wins because I love Raven.
Yeah. Also,
he's going in the Impact Hall of Fame.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. The rumor is they're trying to get CM Punk to induct him.
Wow.
I don't know if
you think he'll do it.
I don't know.
I'm about to say this.
I think that there's a more of a chance that it'll end up being Mickie James because she was a part of his Impact flock, which was not called the was it called the Gathering? Whatever. He had too many gimmicks. Like there was the flock, there was the Nest, the Gathering, the Serotonin.
Yeah, the Nest is the one I remember.
Okay, but
I remember the flock.
Of course. But yeah. I think it's more likely to be Mickie James. But I saw on the internet that they want Punk to do it. And I'm just like, if you can, you do it. But like, I mean, they got Rock to do. They got Rock to do Ken Shamrock. So I'm not saying the Impact can't get CM Punk.
And to be fair, it's Impact. They kind of have established themselves in the last probably 5 or so years as like a weird middleman.
Oh, for sure.
Like,
well,
so
and let's say hypothetically, everybody gets on the good side of Tony Khan. Tony Khan likes working with people, but if he's on the bad side and Impact wants to stay being friends, I don't know what's going to go down. But my point is, Raven deserves the Hall of Fame. I love that guy.
Oh, 1,000%. Yeah. At no point am I ever going to question Raven being inducted into any Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Especially when that dude was over. He was... Like, I still am mad at him for treating Tommy Dreamer so terribly in ECW. And I wasn't alive for that. Let's see. Where did I leave off? Rey Mysterio defeats Psychosis. It's Rey Mysterio and Psychosis. Need I say more? Let's see. Next up, Stevie Ray defeats Chavo again Want to take a guess on how long this one was?
First one was like 2 minutes, right?
Minute 50 something. Yeah.
Oh, okay, almost 2 minutes.
Yeah.
3:30.
Ooh, so close. 2:38.
Ah.
About a minute off.
Yeah.
But yeah, Chavo really put up a fight on this one. or Stevie Way was effing around. Either one. Because WCW. Let's see. Next, Steve McMichael defeats Brian Adams with Vincent.
You said Steve McMichaels?
Yep, Steve.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yep, no, just
I was just reading because that's not who I got Brian Adams wrestling.
Gotcha. Yep, Steve McMichael.
Because Brian Adams was on my NWO show, and Steve McMichael was never with Vince.
Fair enough. You make sense, sir. You make good sense. All right, next up. Oh, yeah, I forgot about this match. So you got the WCW World Cruiserweight title match. Special guest referee, Dean Malenko. So Chris is screwed, basically. It's Chris Jericho losing at a high level to my man Hoovy. Hoovy becomes Cruiserweight champion with Dean counting the pin. I think it was the pin. Can't remember anymore. But 16 minutes, 24 seconds. Big title change. Crowd goes wild. Love to see it. Good for you, Hoovy. I love Hoovy winning matches. All right. Next up, we got this big old battle royal. There's not that many people, so I guess I'll say everyone.
I'm pretty sure it was all NWO versus Goldberg, right?
Yeah. Yep.
I hated this match.
This looks like. Yeah, because it was Kurt Hennig, Kevin Nash, Conan, Lex Luger, Scott Hall, Scott Norton, Sting, and the Giants. And then Goldberg won.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So.
Is the only other match the main event?
Let me double check. Yeah.
So the main event I keep, which is Eric Bischoff and Hollywood Hogan versus Diamond Dallas Page and Jay Leno. Once again, only for cultural relevance, which is Hogan and Bischoff taking over the Tonight Show. It's so big, I don't want to change it. But I changed so many other things. The semi-main event is not Bill Goldberg in a pointless, stupid NWO versus Goldberg Battle Royal. What it is a TV match brought onto the pay-per-view, but no longer for the world title like it was on TV, but it's now Goldberg defending his United States and television titles. No, I'm wrong. I had him give up the TV title because it's NWO exclusive, and we shenanigans the belt off of him, so he don't have to lose it.
Yeah.
But it's Goldberg defending his United States title against the man called Sting. Again, two guys who have done a really good job on TV. Oh yeah, exactly. It's the way to go. But and so this gets Bill to 120-0 by taking out a big star, an established star, a main guy. Cool. So on the undercard for the TV title, we have in the finals of an NWO gimmick, it's Nash versus Hennig, because we had run through the whole dealio to figure out who the new champ is going to be, and I strap up Big Kev because he was over, people liked him, and
Big
Kurt was never afraid to get his shoulders pinned down to the mat.
What a great guy, real giver. Should have been a world champion.
So in a place that wasn't the AWA on the way to them closing the doors.
Yep.
So I have Luger still as Big Gold Champion with the NWO gimmick on that.
Right.
Defending against Brian Adams with Randy Savage in his corner, but Lex Luger overcomes. And in the world title match, Stevie Ray, jealous of the success of Booker T, ensures that Chris Jericho retains in the WCW heavyweight title match. Most of the rest of it stay the same. The Public Enemy and the Dancing Fools. I have Raven go over in the trios matches because I prefer Raven over, no knock on Canyon or Saturn, but I just prefer Raven. And Ming and Barbarian can stay because that's cool. I like those guys. But yeah, we're moving on to Fall Brawl, September the 13th of 1998.
Alrighty, buddy. Here's what we got. Basically, you have the Hart Foundation defeating the Dancing Fools. Jim Neidhart and British Bulldog.
Oh, love those guys.
Yep, gotta love them. Gotta love them. Rest in peace to both of them. WCW World.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah, absolutely.
They're not my opening match.
Wow.
They're my main event.
Ooh. Okay, that one I wasn't expecting. Wasn't sure where he was going with that. All right, we'll wrap this up so we can get to that. See, next up, World Television Title match: Jericho defeats Gold. What?
It's when we were doing the Miz and John Cena gimmick of the count out and the never showing up kind of thing.
Okay.
I thought it was so genius when Miz ripped that off.
Yeah, no, that was smart. That was real smart.
But that's how this happens.
Okay, got it. That makes
so
a lot more
it's
sense.
not a legit.
Well, okay, because literally it's just on here as Jericho defeats Goldberg.
You're welcome.
Like, what happened? And especially because this was 1 minute and 15 seconds, and Jericho's finisher was a submission.
Yes.
So I was like, okay, so this didn't end normally.
Yes.
All right, that makes more sense. Let's see. Singles match: The Cat defeats Norman Smiley. Okay. Rick Steiner what the heck? So Rick Steiner versus Scott Steiner with Buff Bagwell ends in a no contest. You remember what happened?
Say again, please. I was reading.
Rick Steiner versus Scott with Buff, no contest.
Oh, so this was around the time. Do you remember when Buff got his neck broken?
Oh yeah.
And he was in the wheelchair and the whatever. So
gimmick.
even though he came back to the biggest babyface pop immediately because WCW makes bad decisions, they turned him heel. So it's no contest because they did shenanigans.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Next up, Huey defeats Silver King. Don't remember who that is. But retains his cruiserweight title in the process. Next up, Raven rules. Perry Saturn defeats Raven 1-on-1 with Canyon and Lodi in the match. And then you got Dean Malengo defeating Kurt Hennig by DQ. Kurt Hennig came out with Rick Rude for those historians out there. And then, let's see. Conan defeats Scott Hall. What the hell happened here? Scott came out with Vincent. Really do not remember. I feel like I remember Conan beating Scott Hall. Scott Hall, real good for that man. And then, last but not least, 3-way, 9-man tag team war games. These are way too many words, Oz. Team WCW defeated DDP. Sorry, Team WCW was DDP, Roddy Piper, and the Warrior, defeating the NWO Hollywood, which is Bret, Hogan, and Stevie Ray, and the NWO Wolfpack, which was Kevin Nash, Luger, Sting. Man, that was a lot to remember.
All right. Guess what I don't like?
I'm gonna guess this last match.
That is correct. So, I book the War Games match differently. I have Bret Hart, Jim the Anvil Neidhart, and the British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith, taking on Vincent, Disciple, and Hogan, taking on Luger, Hall, and Nash. So,
No NWO Wolfpack? No black and white attack?
Wait. Kevin Nash,
Yep.
Scott Hall, the original Outsiders are teamed with Lex Luger.
Yep.
They're taking. I mean, that's as close to Wolfpack as you get.
Yeah, you're right.
So en route to this show, Hogan, with help from Vincent and the Disciple, bad guys, knobs and sags, any other nasty, terrible, no good, filthy NWO guys, help him cheat to win back the big gold belt from Lex Luger. Hall and Nash come out to make the save after it's too late, but they align with Luger. And because Hogan and the Disciple had already been at odds with Anvil and Davey, and Bret has already been in some of the biggest, best, most important things, let's just pretend like we're in NXT, hand William Regal a mic and say, War Games! And so it just makes good common sense that, again, I separated these rosters, only have the NWO guys go at it. And when you look at guys like, I know you don't like Luger, but Hall and Bret and Anvil and Davey and, honestly, Luger and Scott Hall, pretty much two of the three teams can very much carry the third team. Although, honestly, Ed Leslie's okay. Hogan, he can get the reaction he needs, and Vincent is just there to get his behind kicked.
Pretty much.
But yeah, so that's my main event.
Okay.
But
I'm with it.
By doing this main event this way, and by keeping the roster separate, there's an interesting piece of the puzzle from reality that no longer fits in. Do you know what that is?
From reality?
The Warrior.
Oh, yeah.
So I
forgot about him.
hate a match that is built up for the next pay-per-view. So, you know what I'm doing? I'm not building to it.
Works for me.
I don't know if it's true, but the rumor is Hogan's like, I gotta get my loss back from that Warrior.
Sounds like Hogan.
And so they build up Warrior versus Hogan at Halloween Havoc. Not me. If you're bringing in Warrior for one match and one match alone, because he doesn't even count for this War Games match, he's barely there.
Yeah, didn't he show up at the end?
Yeah, and they do smoke and they show him too early and it's bad and it's cheesy and it's crap. What you do, if you're going to do one match with the Ultimate Warrior and it's not against Hulk Hogan, do you want to know who I'm booking him against?
I'm here.
Let's go to Halloween Havoc and let's get there.
All right. Well, in reality, sorry, you want to say the date?
No, 1 second. I think there's some.
I forgot one thing.
There's some things that I should throw out that I didn't tell you. Jericho negotiates his way out of defending his world title at Fall Brawl. He's the special guest referee for Stevie versus Booker. Blah 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 shenanigans.
Okay.
It's just fun stuff. But at the conclusion of that, that's when we start doing what happened in the real show on Nitro. Jericho starts the I Beat Goldberg gimmick because he's still irritated from the Great American Bash, where Goldberg was in the main event, he wasn't. Yeah, that's pretty much the most important thing. I have Goldberg get to 136-0 at this pay-per-view by defeating Sting and Dallas Page, just because I'm trying to put over Goldberg hard.
As you do.
But yeah, okay, so that's the important things to get across.
Good.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we're ready for 10/25 of 1998 Halloween Havoc. Good, sir?
All right. So we got the WCW World Television Title match. Chris Jericho retains against Raven. You got singles match. Raph defeats Ming. Singles match. Disco Inferno, for the first time since we've started this series, has secured a victory, defeating Juventud Guerrera.
I think that was the wrong choice.
Yeah, I also think that was the wrong choice. Now, if Disco Inferno was wrestling Disco Inferno, then yes, Disco Inferno can win. That's fine. But yeah, not over Hoovy. Meanwhile, his tag partner Alex Wright defeats Fit Finlay. Alrighty. And let's see, Sari. What the hell is wrong? Perry Saturn defeats Lodi. As I flip the page here, give me 1 second. And then you got your WCW World Cruiserweight title match. Billy Kidman, who is the champion, defeats Disco Inferno. Was that number one contenders match you did earlier? Is that why Disco won?
Oh, I don't know. It's a good question. I'm just so excited to tell you about what I'm booking that I'm barely even listening, to be honest.
Excellent. World Tag Team title match. Buff Bagwell and Rick Steiner defeat NWO Hollywood, which is Scott Steiner, who was the replacement for Scott Hall in this match, who was hurt. Can't remember.
Say again, please. I'm still enjoying my own booking.
Yeah. So Buff, Rick, Hollywood, Steiner replaced Scott.
Oh, I think this is when they were doing the Scott's drunk gimmick.
Ooh.
Even though it was real, they worked into a story and it was disgusting.
Yeah. It
was inappropriate.
No, disgusting's right.
Well, okay.
And let's see. Steiner and the Giant lost. Buff and Rick are tag champions. No disqualification match. Rick Steiner wrestles and defeats Scott Steiner. Singles match. Scott defeats Kevin by countout. And why the fuck they just had it? Okay.
Yeah, it's trash. That's why we're rebooking it.
My God. Okay. Let's see. U.S. title match. Bret Hart defeats Sting. I'm sure that was great.
Yeah, it actually made Sting's showcase when they put
when I did that 2K
gimmick. Yeah.
When was that? Was that the 15, 16?
It was whatever year where Sting, we're shocked. And then he shows up on TV and all that, that whole gimmick.
Right, and then everything makes a lot more sense. Like, man, Sting's in the video game. That's so cool.
Well, I mean, but that was actually a running theme for a few years. Like, Warrior didn't get along with him for a long time. 2K made the relationship good.
Yeah.
And then, he broke in and passed.
I'm trying to remember. Was it Warrior, then Sting, then, I want to say Angle?
I know Bruno was in there, too.
Was Bruno in there?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, that brought a lot of people back in that he had
a one-time run in the 2K games, Bruno.
Yeah.
And he was so not
Old school.
Yeah, he didn't fit.
No, he didn't make any sense. He didn't do any of the stuff. That
Although
anyone else
I would not be against just having a whole class of people that just feel weird.
did. Yeah, from the 1900s.
Well, like, yeah, well, just because then once you got them all together, they do fit.
Yeah, I'm about to say it makes a lot. Wow, what a wrist lock! Do you see that suplex? Oh my God, a bear hug! It's over. Yeah, I can actually see the energy. All right, last two matches here. You got Hogan defeating Warrior because Hogan had to get that win back.
Yeah.
And then finally, surprisingly enough, Hogan was not in the main event. It was actually Goldberg defeating Diamond Dallas Page.
Hold on. Before you get caught up, Hogan was in the main event because they went long and the pay-per-view cut off. That Diamond Dallas Page and Bill Goldberg match was aired on TV.
Oh my gosh, that is what happened on this.
So,
I forgot.
my version of Halloween Havoc, I'm so in love with this damn thing. So, I hate that Warrior Hogan match. I think it is absolute trash.
That's because it was.
So what I do instead, because I don't want it to exist, I
set it on fire.
well, better than they did, because that was a fireballs aren't good. Don't bring those in.
Mm-hmm.
So what I do is I book the Blade Runners versus each other. I have the Warrior, the Ultimate Warrior versus the Icon, the man they call Sting.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're gonna do a one-off Warrior match, do it against his.
Especially since you're gonna beat him anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And so give people something they want. Let them put over Sting in a strong way. And so I also have in the main event I have the undefeated at 145-0 Bill Goldberg defeat Hulk Hogan, who had recently won back the big gold belt, and this, not the Georgia Dome, not a random Nitro, is the night that Bill Goldberg holds up the big gold belt, and he holds up the United States Championship because he's still got that. So this is the Georgia Dome moment, but on pay-per-view, and people got to pay to see Bill win over Hogan. I put I put it off because it actually happened earlier in the year in the real timeline, but I save it till here because I don't want to have that Hogan Warrior match. I want Warrior to do something different, and I want Bill to be put over on the pay-per-view because Bischoff has said with his own words that Starrcade was built to be WrestleMania, but Halloween Havoc was bought like it was WrestleMania. And so because it's one of the most bought shows every year, let's make sure people are going to buy into it and put the title on Bill here at Halloween Havoc, and then we can lead into Starrcade and not use a shock stick to take the title off of Bill because that was trash.
That was a bad decision.
But yeah, that was the final episode of the Wednesday Night Wrestling Rematch for the month of September. It was so fun. We got off track, but hey, it was for good stuff.
Listen,
got to talk about Ming when you get the chance.
Gotta give that man the appreciation because he never got it while he was wrestling.
Exactly. And so, thank you, good sir.
Yes, sir.
We will
working with you.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll be back doing this all over again in October, and it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be exciting, and But
See you soon.
I know it sounded like I was rapping, but before I get out of here, I want to say in the description there's a link to my 68-page graphic novel, Everlasting Survivors, Volume 1, all day long. If you don't have a copy, just follow the link, get yours, and yeah, thank you. See you next time.
Take care.